Alright guys, today we got an interesting ride on our hands. I've been driving this 2022 Nissan Armada with the V8 engine, and I just wanted to do a quick review as I've been driving this for the past few days and show you some interesting things and talk about how it drives and how it feels. So this is the fully loaded body on frame Nissan Armada. It's the biggest SUV they offer in North America, and it is nice. It feels like a truck, and it has lots of good features and some things that are drawbacks as well. But overall, I mean, it's a good looking vehicle. It does look dated compared to the past 10 years of Nissan Armada and Infiniti QX56. But this Armada redesign looks very close to Infiniti. Like, it actually looks pretty premium. I mean, if you look at the lights right here, you got some nice color grading and LEDs. And overall, you know, you got the nice big Armada badge. You got painted bumpers with designs within the bumpers, you know, to add more ground effects. Even the wheel surrounds are painted. You have nice rims. These rims are about 20 inches, but you can get bigger rims. This is not the highest model. Nice step bar. V8 badging with this full grille. I mean, you can kind of see through, so it might have some effect. So it's not completely fake. But even look at the headlights. Like, these are nice looking headlights. You got, it seems like you have actually LED headlights with LED running lights. Overall, I mean, this compared to back in the day, this Nissan Armada looks very close to an Infiniti. I mean, it has a lot of curb appeal. So let's take a look at the engine. Let me just pop the hood. Alright, here we have that big V8 engine. Now, sorry, I don't remember the specs off the top of my head. I haven't searched them yet, but it is a pretty powerful engine. What I like about it is you have good pickup and go. It's not that loud. I mean, it's a quiet V8. When you do punch it, it does start giving that classic V8 grumble. But that's one of my dislikes too. Compared to like a Dodge Durango RT, it doesn't have that much joyous personality. It just feels like an SUV with you know, a big V8 to haul things around, but nothing too much characteristic or too exciting about being engaged by this engine. And there's not any sport modes or any dynamic driving modes that really you know, access the power and the sound of this V8 as much as it could. But overall, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with the engine. It drinks a lot of fuel. I think I went through like 30 gallons in 300 miles. Or sorry, probably more than that, 400 miles. I went through like 30 gallons. So it does drink a lot of gas. But I mean, that's kind of expected. I mean, even if you look at the shape, it's not drastically aerodynamic. Oh, there's a plane. Let's see how far we can zoom in. Oh, all right, back to the video. Yeah, I mean, that's the engine. What do we got back here? Let's see the underbody, because this is a body on frame. So you got the spare tire, you got lots of ground clearance, and overall it's a pretty clean underbody, as it should be for a newish car. This is a 2022 with only like 20,000 miles. But yeah, I mean, look at being body on frame, look at the amount of clearance you have. It's pretty good, and it does feel like it's very capable if you took it off-road. When you drive, especially, like it, especially with the bigger tires and the ground clearance, it does feel like it's pretty capable. I mean, from the outside, it looks like it's fairly low, but it doesn't feel like that when you're driving. You do feel confident and bumps, and you know, even if I wanted to hop this curb, I wouldn't have to think twice in this. Compared to like a Nissan Pathfinder, I'd probably hesitate a little bit. Let's look at the interior. Interior is pretty nice, simple, you know, Nissan interior. You got full leather seating, sunroof, just a bunch of general features. You got this navigation system. So the screen, if you look at it from the side, I mean, it's tilted back. I don't know why they did this. I don't know if there's some design purpose, but let me take you in the driver's seat and show you why that's an odd feature, at least for me. So hopping into the Armada, gonna open the door, make use of this step bar. Before we do that, just look at this side door panel. You got some nice leather, kind of stitched into the armrest. Nice faux wood trim, looks like fake wood. All right, let's climb in. So you sit up high in this vehicle, you sit up very high. But before we get into anything, let me talk about the screen. So the screen is kind of tilted back, and I'm sitting high. Even though I'm sitting high, the screen still feels like, you can probably tell from this side, it still feels like it's very tilted back. And I don't know if this is to prevent glare or anything, but personally I'd prefer like my vision to be, you know, flat. Like look at that, look at the test. Oops, sorry, don't want to get copyrighted on some Apple CarPlay stuff. Yeah, but I mean, look at that. Like it's easier to read the items on the bottom compared to the items on the top, even if I zoom in. So I don't like that about this screen. Other than that, it's nice. It's got Apple CarPlay. I almost said Apple AirPlay. And you got lots of features. You got like your navigation. Honestly, I haven't played through this too much. I've just been using Apple CarPlay for now. But yeah, so that's your screen right there. That's one of my main concerns. You got your digital gauge cluster right here with your you know, analog speedometer and tachometer, which is not bad. This screen is pretty big. It seems like it's like a 5-inch screen. You got lots of buttons on your steering wheel, volume controls. Everything's pretty intuitive and feels good to the touch. Radar cruise control, I use that a lot. This one, it's a pretty good system and I like it. It doesn't have lane keep assist. It just has like lane warning assist if you're getting near outside the lane, based on that button right there. And then overall, I mean, it has an interesting swooping design with this full wood trim up to the dashboard. Over here it looks normal, but if you look at the passenger side, it's interesting. It's like a dual layer dashboard. So that's an interesting design point. Center, we just got your regular physical climate controls, which is good to have. Now this compartment right here, you press the button and then you have your wireless car charger built into here. I don't want to forget this phone. And then this light lights up when your phone is charging. You got your ports, you got your trailer control systems when you connect a trailer. You got your, you know, physical shifter. You have your 4x4 control, which is pretty good to have. You can actually manual lock. I'm not sure exactly if there's rear and front locking differentials separately, but you do have that. And then overall, your navigation control, like, you know, similar to like a BMW iDrive system. I like this. So you press the camera. I like this. When you're backing up, you kind of have a 360 view. Very helpful. And the backup camera, especially for a vehicle this big, this is very helpful. And it's helpful for another reason. The mirrors feel very narrow, so it's hard to see, you know, farther out. So yeah, I mean, the mirrors are tall, but they're very narrow. So I find that interesting compared to a lot of cars I've driven, which are usually longer and you know, thinner. But this is very you know, thin upright versus horizontally. Other than that, I mean, pretty decent interior. Seats are very comfortable. You sit up high. You pretty much sit like a chair, flat. You know, your thighs are flat onto the seat bolster, and it's pretty comfortable. I've liked driving this, and I've liked the driving position. And I love that you sit very high. Like even if I'm near minivans or a bunch of SUVs, I can still look over them. So this is like literally pickup truck height, if not maybe slightly higher. Let's go to the back and let's see how it is in the back. All right, so in the back, this is a 7-passenger, this one in particular. So you got these separate like captain chairs. This is a very big center console. I at first thought this might have been a seat. It would have been nice if there was a seat, but it's just a big center console with lots of storage and your cup holders and more storage down here. Overall, very nice, very roomy. I got lots of space behind me. I got like almost a foot of knee room. And you can slide these and recline these chairs, I'm pretty sure. So I just checked, you can only recline these chairs. It doesn't seem like you can slide them. It seems like they might be fixed into here, unless I'm wrong, please correct me. You got your climate controls here for your vents, and then you have your rear seats. So 7-passenger, you just pop these back up. Whoops, blocking the seat coming up. And there you go, there you got your full passenger 7-passenger seating. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's start driving this truck. Alright, let's take this Armada for a drive. I gotta drop it back off to the airport, and let me tell you how it drives. There's a lot of good things and a few bad things. I wouldn't say bad, just some observations. But let's get ready to go. So one thing I like, the automatic climate control. I barely used automatic climate control before, but now I'm getting more familiar and comfortable with it, and I like using it. When I'm driving this vehicle, so it's nice to have this physical shifter. It feels rugged as it should. The steering, I wouldn't say it's heavy, but it feels like a large body on frame SUV kind of truck steering. It doesn't feel too light or over boosted, so I like that. You need to put a little effort to direct it where you want to go. So according to the personality of the vehicle, it feels appropriate for sure. And it does feel stable too. The steering on the highway, you require barely, if any, constant adjustments. It stays true and straight. One thing I don't like, which I'm going to show you right here, so I'm going to make a U-turn. I mean, it's a big U-turn with respect to the divider, but I don't like the turning radius of this truck. The turning radius is not that great. I have had to do a lot of 3-point turns this week that I wouldn't have to do had to do in many cars. So that's one thing I observed. Something else in terms of steering is that you do feel a lot of the bumps in the road in a good way. I mean, it's nothing, too much that shakes up the cab, and that's something I also want to talk about. That when you do go over bumps and grooves or any potholes on the highway, this thing can manage them very well. It doesn't shake up the balance, and it has appropriate balance and appropriate control. Let's talk about one sec. Alright, let's talk about the cabin overall. So seats, I like seats. You sit up high. This armrest, central armrest, is a little farther back than I'd like. It'd be nice if I had like my own, separate armrest on the seat or something that I could adjust or have it sit up higher. The left side armrest is a little low, but I find myself, just setting my arm on the windowsill, which is good enough because it's well padded with, this faux leather material, and it's about 2 inches thick, so it's good enough. Some other things about the interior, like I talked about the screen earlier, I feel it's tilted back a little too much. Only by a few degrees. I mean, now I'm used to it, but at first that's something that threw me off a little with the tilt back of this screen right here. Gauges are very clear, very visible. Everything is good and visible and accessible. A lot of buttons for your climate control, so no concerns there. This iPhone, wireless charging is in a hidden compartment. Either you love it or hate it. All of my cars are old enough where I don't even have that, so for me it's just a good feature to have. Now, one thing I really like about the cabin in this Armada is how quiet it is. When you roll all the windows up and when you're just cruising on the highway, this thing blocks out a lot of sound, a lot of outside sound, and I really appreciate that in this vehicle, especially something like this where you'd be taking this on longer trips or just overall driving it a lot. It is very quiet inside the cabin. The engine's very quiet too. You can barely hear it unless you actually punch the throttle and give it some gas. Then you can hear that V8, which actually sounds pretty nice. But other than that, quiet engine, quiet cabin, comfortable interior. Overall, I wouldn't say it's something too luxurious. I mean, you don't have many extravagant features. You only have like memory seats. You don't have any massaging or cooling seats. I only got heated seats in this one. The rear doesn't have heated seats, I don't think. So nothing too extravagant, but for something for utilitarian, purposes, family use, something like that, getting from A to B, in overall comfort and overall, having the power to do so. I think this is a great vehicle. Visibility. I want to talk about visibility. When I first sat in this truck, I mean, my daily driver is a Mazda MX-5, so it's a big difference. But this felt like I was driving like a Class 8, highway truck, because you have so much visibility. You sit up very high, and the windshield is nice. It's not too big, but it gives you good visibility. But the ride height, like I have a Kia Telluride right to my next to me, and I'm like, my eyes are sitting next to its like rear windshield. Like I can almost see down into its driver's seat gauge cluster area. So you see a lot. There's this Mercedes GLK that just pulled up next to me, and I can literally see if I pull up to it, I can actually see its full-on dashboard down to it. So you have lots of visibility in this truck for sure, and I love that. Mirrors could be better. They're too thin. I mean, they're long. They're very long, but they're too thin. So it blocks out a lot of areas that shouldn't even be blind spots because you can't see. I do have that lane warning light on the mirrors. I do have lane. I don't have lane keep assist, but it has like lane warning system. So if you're getting out of your lane, it vibrates like your similar vibration to driving on lumber, those strips on the highway. You got this nice grab handle here. It'd be nice if it was up here, just personal preference, but you got two. You got one up here and one right over here. Overall, no, pretty cool truck. I mean, compared to like something like an Escalade or something in that realm, it's very different. But exterior wise, it looks very close to an Infiniti QX56, but I'm pretty sure, based on how this is, the Infiniti QX56 might be a better buy in terms of interior features if that's something that you really like. But if you don't need many of those extra features in the inside, this is a pretty good looking truck, good driving truck, and overall it has nice features. But honestly, if I were you, I'd keep a lookout on the market. I'd test drive, you know, the GMC, the Chevy Suburban, those kind of products, the Ford Expedition. What are some other comparables? You have the Lexus GX, you have the Toyota Sequoia. I'd drive those and see how it feels, because overall, I mean, this is a pretty new truck, but other than this screen right here, it does not feel that new. I mean, it feels like, if it was a 2015, I wouldn't be surprised. But this is a 2022 truck. So it's a pretty aging platform overall. Even with the facelift, a lot of things have been carried over. So yeah, I mean, that's something to keep in mind. If you want the newest and greatest, then look around. But other than that, it's a good truck when you're buying brand new. I mean, it has 21,000 miles. It does not feel like there's any rattles or creaks or anything. The interior is holding up pretty well. It's still driving pretty well. It drives true and straight. The engine has good response. And yes, I've enjoyed driving this truck, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.